they didn't allow people to vote. Nobody is accusing of overvoting because the beavers. And if the overvoting happens, everybody are going to court now. The beavers, we expose them in court.
Did you know that there are more Ghanaians in Nigeria than any part of the world? Well, now you know. That is the reason why happenings and events in Nigeria are of great importance to Ghanaians. Today on the Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV, we take a deep dive into the Nigerian election and the learnings we can take from it as a country. My name is Daniel Oduro. Today I sit with 3 Nigerians as they give us an insight into the Nigerian election. You're welcome to the Lowdown. Gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Lowdown. I'll let you start by mentioning your name so that I don't get it wrong. So let's start from you. You are from the APC.
Yes.
But what's your name and what's your position?
My name's Otumba Lukman Taiwo Bakari.
Okay.
I'm the Director of Marketing Public Affairs Tinubu Shetima campaign and the APC Greater Accra Chairman.
Okay. Babatunde is a journalist with us. Babatunde Adiola is in charge of mynigeria.com. It's an online portal. It's a sister station or a sister website of GhanaWeb.com. And he would also give us an insight from a journalistic perspective on how he covered the Nigerian election.
My name is Chukwemeka Naji.
Chukwemeka.
I'm a coordinator for Dynamic Ambassador for P2B in Ghana here. And we are working to have a new Nigeria.
Okay, all right. Let me start from you because a lot of Ghanaians really resonate with Peter Obi and the fact that he was able to amass a lot of following on social media, especially from the youth. Are you disappointed that Obi did not cross the line and become president of Nigeria this year?
No, not the word disappointed. I'm so excited that Nigerians voted for Obi. And if you have followed the election very well, you realize that Obi suffered a lot of casualty. And there's no politician in the world that have done what Obi done in this very short period, less than a year. But the reason he did that is because he have a great antecedent that we followed, and we know what they have done in Anambra State as a governor. Obi is somebody who creates a lot of wealth, and he tried to save those monies for the betterness of humanity. Okay. He moved education from the last to the first point, the health to the last to the first point. Road network was his antecedent. And when all these things were revealed to the young men, and we realized that this is the kind of person we needed for Nigeria, we all moved towards him and follow him. Some of us who normally roam around the corridors of politics normally support, maybe PDP, ABC, and all the old parties. But he didn't show up. From all walks of life, from all corners of Nigeria, the youth get up behind him. Because he says that he's going to move Nigeria forward from consumption to production. And you know what the problem of Nigeria is? We have a lot of area land where we can cultivate and export, but it's in the West because there's no government support. Okay. If you go to the hinterland, if you go to the street of Lagos, Abuja, the street of all the major cities in Nigeria, you see the young men doing all manner of casual work, illegality, like Aboros in Lagos were known with that. And the government are driving with 4x4, and you see one governor moving with about 40 Land Cruisers or Prados, as the case may be. In Nigeria, they like Lexus more.
Fueled by the state.
Yeah, fueled by the state. And you see him talking big, and most of the people who is the APS will be, taking advantage of others and creating a lot of nuisance. This is what we
wanted to fix,
and the youth understand his point. And they voted for him.
The news coming in this morning is that he's filed a suit at the court to challenge the election results. Do you genuinely believe that even though he did well, he actually won this election?
The court of Nigeria should come to the aid of Nigeria because Nigeria is at age of collapse. Why did I say that? This election was full of deceit. Before the election, what we were told to do is to support our candidate and vote.
Yeah.
You will be hearing something like, get your PVC, get your PVC.
Yeah.
Because the INEC told everybody that the election will count, your vote will count. And we're all excited about it. Because if you have watched Nigeria elections, the turn up is always low.
Yes, very low.
Very low. People don't want to get involved. But incidentally, this year is lower, where we have more people registered. Which is a irony of life. I don't understand how that works. But that is not true. People really turn up. But their vote did not count.
Okay.
What happened? INEC shut their server before the election. And nothing can be connected.
Okay.
And the vote of the people were rewriting the state. The governors took over. And all the state to be won was 10 against him. And this is very, very ridiculous.
But Obi won in Nigeria, in Lagos. He won in.
In fact, the score in Lagos, according to the two strong room that we have from another party and ours, is over 900 votes against 150 something of APC, the presidential candidate.
Okay.
It was now shared almost equal, 472 and 572 and 583. So you just realize that the deed was much. INEC have become a fraudulent institution, and I'm not going to withdraw it. If they are not, they would have done better. Election are being rigged in a different way you used to know. Like you see them buying the votes, pushing people to vote against their will, but then when they collect the money, they will vote. But this time, everybody was ready to vote for me, and we voted for him. Instead of allowing this vote to count, INEC refused. That is strange. So if the Supreme Court could not put all those things into consideration and allow this thing to stay the way it is, it means they want to create anarchy in Nigeria.
Does it mean you've already given up before the petition is looked into?
No. Why should we give up?
It looks like you don't even believe that the courts are going to...
No. We believe the court very well, but we have second option.
Okay. And that's what? The second option will be what?
To face our adversity, one-on-one.
Are you preaching chaos in Nigeria?
I'm preaching peace. You see, some of you thought that the peace is in absence of maybe crisis. No. Peace is after crisis. That's when you get real peace. Real peace comes when you fought and everybody understood the reason why you are defending your territory. Let me tell you something. If an armed robber can come to my house and take a machete and threaten me and take my phones and run away, and I remember that I have a stick that I can use to throw on him, I will do that. If I throw him to pull him down, because people in my head and people will say, oh, why did you wound him? I see. I'm sorry about it. Is he wounded? Let me tell you something. We cannot continue like this. We cannot continue like this. People thought they are smart. I believe that Nigeria should change the narrative for all Africans to follow. The Europeans that were running into, do you know that if you bring visa for, there's no country in the world aside Africa that people will not go from Nigeria and Ghana. There's no country in the world. All the Asians, you can take somebody to banana or plantation, they will be okay there because there's what security, there's at least food, there's a light, there's whatever amenities. And people don't need much. They don't need much. What they needed is a peace of mind. But our case is totally different. You can, even as some of us who feel that we are comfortable, Master, you are not comfortable in anything.
Okay.
You go to a village, people are lining up depending on you to give them what? Give them what? And when the people are telling me they are dropping out the WAEC exam, they cannot register, they don't have money, and I was shocked. And I'm going to connect to register for many people because there's a trouble. If my children were able to go to school and all my brother's children could not continue, what I am building? I'm building a collapsed house.
Okay. All right, I'll come back to you. Otumba, your candidate has won. I mean, Tinubu is managed, we call him the landlord of Lagos, managed to win. But first of all, he lost in Lagos, where he is proclaimed to be the landlord. He lost to Obi in Lagos. And secondly, if you combine the vote of the two opposition parties, they had more than the winner, which is Tinubu. Does that mean that more Nigerians do not want his candidature?
Thank you for having me again. Tinubu came into politics in 1991. He won Lagos West senatorial seat in 1992. He fought the military when they annulled the 1993 election won by Nkommo Wo Ho. He was detained. The house was burnt. He went to exile. He continued with Nadeko fighting them. In 1998, when we're done with the military rules, when we are going to the Fourth Republic, he has to return back. He wanted to go back to Senate. But the leaders of the Southwest said, no, you have done enough to regain this democracy. Come and manage Lagos State. He won in 1999, sorry. He won the election again in 2003, when the rest of the Southwest governors lost. Obasanjo rigged them out. When he was leaving, he brought somebody, his predecessor, which is Babatunde Fashola, the current Minister of Work and Housing today. He won. They won again in 2011. He won in 2019. Look at the number of, he won in 2015, won in 2019. So why this year story is different?
Yes.
If Obi is so good,
Yeah.
he won election in 2006. He won in 2006, right? He finished in 2010. He won another one in 2010, right? When he was going in 2014, he brought Obiano. But he has brought two people. He has supported PDP candidate in the 2018. He lost. He supported PDP candidate in 2022. He lost. So does that mean he is not good enough for the people of Anambra? But haven't I said that? Lagos is cosmopolitan state. So, and we should be able to understand that what happened in Lagos will surely happen. People don't understand the policy of the scarcity of Naira. A lot of people were affected, and they took their hunger to the poll. So we expected that. But haven't I said that? The policy was not well implemented. But Mr. President needs to make a statement and do something with that. But he knows that we have to pay price for the scarcity of Naira, because we felt the effect of scarcity of Naira during the election. It is the first time we've never experienced vote buying. That should have been the music of the opposition today, that they have used the Nigerian money to buy vote for the party.
Okay.
And when there was no vote buying, I couldn't see one. I'm still expecting people to send me video that this is where they are buying votes, because there was no Naira. And that was the intention of Mr. President. And I give glories to God that at least it affected us, but we have achieved something with it. What I don't understand about that, the question I was asking is, are we going to change Naira again in next 4 years? So, but by then, I think we must have found a policy or how to eradicate vote buying. That one is number one. There was nothing like overvoting. That's the good job of introduction of beavers. Nobody's talking about that.
Are you sure nobody's talking about that?
Nobody's talking about overvoting. What they are talking about is, they said they intimidated them. They didn't allow people to vote. Nobody's accusing of overvoting, because the beavers. And if the overvoting happens, everybody are going to court now. The beavers, we expose them in court, because we have seen that in the last Osun State election, that is in tribunal now, when the APC accused the PDP that one that they did overvoting. At the end of the day, when we got to tribunal, we could see that both of them did overvoting when they brought the beavers out. That's the same thing that will happen. The Labour will be able to explain how they got 93, 94% in Southeast when it never happened in any other region in Nigeria. So everybody should be going there. When you go there, the APC as well will take their case in, and they will also take that. But what I'm saying is, I've not seen any of the PDP or Labour to state areas that they've rigged them.
Okay.
If you are claiming that they've rigged you, you should be able to pull down the evidence. That is when you are behaving as a patriotic citizen. When you are putting information out without evidence, I think you are causing so much harm to your country and to the institution like INEC. When he was talking, he was making some unaccepted statements towards INEC, and that's very, very unfair. If Obi had won, I'm not sure he would have made those statements against the institution. And we need to be very careful. What we are saying today, other countries will use it against us tomorrow. And that is why we have to be very careful. The beavers, people are not talking about it. Once you go, during election day, when you go, you have to go for accreditation and go back home. Maybe after 1 hour, you have to come back. The beavers has helped. It makes the process to be very speedy. You just do your accreditation and straight up you vote. And that's what, even with the scarcity of money, it affected the logistic of the INEC. Okay. And a few weeks to the election, the INEC chairman went to meet the CBN governor that, look, this issue of scarcity, they need money, they need to sort out logistic. But the Labour Party, Excellency Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar, they were the ones supporting the scarcity of money, that we are complaining because we want to use the money to buy vote. Okay. And at the end of the day, they were the ones saying that the logistic did not arrive early. How did you want the logistic to arrive early when there is no money to pay? Okay. So we need to be sincere with ourselves. So what I'm waiting for people now, when people are saying election is not credible, what are your definition? Where are your facts? The definition of when elections are not credible, bring out areas that we have crisis. We agree that we have crisis. Everything, we don't expect everywhere to be perfect. Even America, over 200 years democracy, they have crisis. We experienced it in 2020. Okay. So if we have crisis, bring the list of areas. I want to learn from people, because this democracy is not something that it will be perfect overnight. It's a process. Yeah. And as we are moving, we'll be learning. If you said we have crisis, do we have crisis in 100 polling units?
I'm sure they'll provide all of that.
Even people that we are communicating with now, they should tell us. They should tell us if we are communicating in a discussion like this. They should be able to state it. We have a 606 polling units. 606 polling units. And let's now look at it. Let's do the statistic.
Otumba, let's go for a break, and then we will continue with the conversation. This is the Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV. My name is Daniel Oduro. I'm having a conversation with 3 Nigerians, one a journalist, one with the ruling APC, which has broken the 8th, which Ghana's MPP is attempting to do come next year, and also a member of the Labour Party. We call them obedience in Ghana. When we return, we'll look at the future of Nigeria under Tinubu, and whether or not that is the best way to go. Nigeria's success is very fundamental to the sub-region and the entire African continent, which is why it's important to discuss their election and the fallout of that election. My name is Daniel Oduro. Back after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. This is still the Lowdown on GhanaWeb TV. My name is Daniel Oduro. We're having a conversation about the Nigerian election. I'm here with Chukwuemeka Nanji, who is a convener of the Labour Party representing the Obedient. And he is of the firm belief that there was voter suppression and rigging in the just ended Nigerian election. Otumba Lukman Taiwo Bakari is also from the APC, and his candidate has just won an election, even though it's by only 37%. But he believes that Nigeria is heading in the right direction. Babatunde Adiola is editor at mynigeria.com, and he followed the Nigerian election. Baba, what were your learnings and the coverage of this election, even though you are not on the ground, you covered it with your team here? What was different from this election compared to previous elections?
Yeah, I think the beavers first, because...
So it's the first time the beavers were being used?
Yeah, this is the first time the beavers have been used in an election of this magnitude. The off-cycle elections in Anambra and Ekiti and Osun, so it was implemented.
Okay.
And it was actually very, very successful. So
But those were small, in small numbers.
In smaller numbers, but in a general number or on a bigger scale, this was the first time the machine was actually introduced. And also the conversation has been about the mode of transmission.
Okay.
So now the opposition and of course the ruling party are arguing that INEC broke its own rule. INEC was supposed to transmit the results from the polling unit to an INEC server. Then from the INEC server, it's uploaded to the IREF portal.
Let me ask you,
The IREF portal is basically a portal where Nigerians and anybody interested in the poll could go view the results. Unfortunately, instead of INEC waiting for all the results to be uploaded on the IREF portal, it began announcing the results of the elections prior to uploading it. And that caused an uproar on social media. The conversation about that particular mistake started on Saturday around 9-ish, 10-ish, and that was when social media went agog. And they released a statement that it was a technical glitch, and they still wanted to proceed with announcing the results. But irrespective, that has been a controversy. And like you said, Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar are going to court to challenge INEC, basically. They've demanded for the results of the elections, so that's so far so good. That is where we have, that is where we are with regard to the political parties. And again, this election has been one of the most competitive. Nigeria has never had this voters registering for a particular elections. 93 million of them. Most of them were young Nigerians who actually wanted to cast their votes to ensure their votes counted. And 87.3 or so collected their PVC. So we expected a very, very huge turnout. Now, what is the conversation? The opposition, Labour Party, are saying, actually, Nigerians actually did go to the poll. But again, there was voter apathy, there was voter suppression. There are videos that have actually come out to explain that, okay, this could be the reason why the voter turnout was low. The ruling party are also, giving the excuse with regard to why we had just 23 million or 25 million Nigerians coming out to vote out of 87 million, which signifies the least in Nigeria's history, 27%. That is another thing social media was talking about. And the whole euphoria that surrounded Peter Obi, this is the first time, I guess, in any African democracy,
been a third force.
That has been a third force. I know in Ghana we've had
MPP, NDC. Yeah, we have Augustine Ndum and Co.
The Abu Sakaras
also. In the past we had the likes of Guzitando and Co forming their own parties.
Yes, who have actually tried to compete with the two institutional parties. But this is the first time that we've seen in an African democracy a third force actually do well in a presidential election. It has never happened before, and I'm sure Peter Obi and Obedience must be commended for what they've done so far.
Okay, all right. Let me come back to you, Chukwuemeka. Would Obi take solace in the fact that relatively he's young, relatively, even at 61, he has an opportunity to come back in 4 years to compete again. He would have learned his lessons. He would have had enough time to reach out to the people and the Nigerian people to vote for him.
All right, thank you very much. Before I come back to you as well, let me use the opportunity to thank all the Nigerians who have voted for Labour Party and Obedience. And I'm also thanking Ghanaians who have prayed for us. Keep on receiving your calls and text messages encouraging us. And I can tell you that the Nigerian people have done it again. They have set the pace for every African country to pick, irrespective of what the outcome may be for now. The young people and the old people went out and voted for a new Nigeria that they expect to have. Whatever happens is a history, but let me tell you, there's no solace to be taken for anything. Nobody cares whether Obi becomes president or not. That is not our business. His Excellency Peter Obi, I'm not sure he wish or that is hard desire to become president of Nigeria. What happened, if I will explain to you, is that his lifestyle have shown that this is what we need in a leader. Leadership must be moderate, must be honesty, his integrity life must be shown by the way he does things. He shouldn't be somebody who wastes, and he should have the people at heart. That is what Obi have done as a private businessman. Obi joined political ranks at a very old age. He's the chairman of a bank. He bought the highest share of a bank in Nigeria through his trading activities. He's not somebody who goes to government house to look for contract to supply and get change figures. So, based on that line of action or the lifestyle base, when they forced him to run as a politician and convinced him and he agreed, by him saying what his antecedents have been, people now, buy into that. And that is how Obedient was born. Before Obedient, we used to have what we call articulated. That was Atiku Abubakar.
Okay.
And the PDP was ruling. But you see, the problem and difference between articulated and Obedient is that Atiku had been in the government, and this government have not said well about him. In fact, there's a lot of corruption allegation on him that is on the social media, even to the extent that his principal or his boss was able to say that this man have consumed a lot of Nigerian money. He could not attract the young people.
Okay.
Though he did well by attracting politicians who wanted to go maybe left from the right. But Obi case attract the young people because he was able to tell them that this is what I'm going to do. And you will know a man by what he says, know him well by what he do, and you know him very well by what he gave. Obi said something that they have done. When he became the governor of the state, I have said before, he changed a lot of things. Many people who did not know Anambra State, which is a state, a region like you call in Ghana, Anambra is like Ashanti. In a lot of things, they resemble. They have a lot of rich men. They have a lot of power brokers. You can never be a governor of Anambra State and perform well. It is impossible before me. It is impossible. You can never.
Why is that?
The reason is that everything is being hijacked by the people. They are rich. In fact, it will be very difficult for you to see somebody as a politician that will come and stand for election and is one of the top richest. No. Those guys are there like they are there, they relax. And when you come, they will tell you what to do.
Okay.
So, and one of the policies Obi brought out to tackle them is this fact that when you call, this is Chief Aggregate Bowan, I would like to see you, His Excellency. I say, okay, sir, please, what time do you give me? I will come to your house. Obi says he don't want to buy them champagne because these people will not drink anything less than champagne.
Okay.
So you have to agree to visit you. Don't come to the government house.
So the government will buy you champagne.
So the government will not buy the champagne. You have the money, so you buy the champagne. Let's drink. And the Obi is not ready to take the champagne.
Okay.
So if you give him water, he drinks and move away. So whatever I want to tell him, you tell him. He sustained the tempo of the Anambra and make the place work out again. The road network became the best in Nigeria. He was able to win a lot of all these million challenge goals. The standard that's set by international communities. He reduced the poverty level. He reduced the employment level of the state, and the state was able to move forward. Those testimonies is what the young people heard, and they said, this man have to come and replicate what he have done in Anambra in Nigeria.
So he has another opportunity to, assuming that he doesn't succeed with this petition.
We cannot continue with this, and let me just tell you, for the fact that you are supporting a vote today because it favors you, be careful because next time it may not favor you. We want to stop illegality in Nigeria, and we're going to stop it. And it's people that will do that. When the election was about to commence, I said this election 2023 is going to be a fight between Nigerians and the politicians. And I hope and pray that Nigerians will win. Many people say amen to that, people do not say amen. But then let me explain what I mean by that. the politician, who is a politician in Nigeria? A politician in Nigeria is, most of them are jobless individual who doesn't have any work. You see them spending above their incomes. Can you believe that a member, not a member, a leader of the parliament sent out, I think he was even holding gun himself, but they burned opposition parties' office and killed 3 people. They're still in police custody as we speak now. These politicians do not believe anything good for Nigerians. The only thing they care about is themselves. They can flew, when the election was about to come, there are some people who call themselves G5 governors. Can you imagine, my brother, they flew from here to Europe and spend days and come back again and dance and go and get back again, private and come back again. They were doing this and I said Nigeria is a patient place. It's already in this neck. We can't continue this way. And if you to keep quiet and and allow this thing to happen, I would be surprised. Because what? You see, we're already dead, we're not living. There's nobody telling you that he's living in Nigeria. Otumba is here, he can tell you where the running water in Lagos, which is a big city. Every water that runs is a borehole in every house.
In Lagos?
Yes. If there is, maybe in a few, look, I'm not sure it can come up to 2 local governments. That's the bad as it is. They said they're talking about we are exposing Nigeria. I'm going to expose them more. They're not doing well. Why should I keep quiet? I've been enjoying in Ghana for more than almost 30 years now, and my people are suffering. I'm comfortable here. I have more house in Ghana than what I have in Nigeria. But I can't keep quiet. My house is even hot, even when there's air condition in. The food I eat have become sour in my mouth because my people are suffering. And I can't continue like this. We have the resources. It's only the management. We see the manager. Why are you forcing him out? The Nigerian people voted for me. He had more vote than anybody. In Rivers, the Governor Wike destroyed all the results. In Lagos, they destroyed the Agboros, did everything to suppress people. They were chasing some people that are sure they will vote for Labour Party. The issue is this. We need support of international community. And their support is that they should talk to the old man to go and rest. Tinubu did not win this election that announced him. Some of the irregularities in this election is laughable. Some people are telling that the election of 2019 are being used for 2023. And some people were saying, I think we see where I think Bauchi and Gombe was having the same scorecard. 133 for APC, 133 for PDP, with this whatever thing. The same thing, is that election. We find out that the election result of state was written on 20th on computer. It shows. But the INEC official will tell you that they are not receiving the electronic, they receive the documents, the hard copy.
Yeah.
So it was on 26th they received or 27th. But it shows in all the screen that this thing was prepared on 20th February.
Okay.
You see, the high level of irregularity on this, don't talk about the server that was shut down. The INEC intentionally shut their server down on the election day, which you have told everybody that when you are voting, you vote. Your vote will transfer or transmit or transfer whatever, because we're looking for word name to, deceive somebody. They said we didn't say transmit, we didn't say transfer. But okay, let me use the word everybody knows. Send. Should be sent from the polling unit to the server. That was not done. At least that enough would have cancelled this election.
Okay.
And we are calling for cancellation of the election whoever is famous, whichever way. Let us go back and do the right thing.
Okay. So that's Chukwuemeka. Chukwuemeka is a convener for the Labour Party in Accra, Ghana. Usually this program is a very short 30 minutes program, but there's a lot to talk about. So we'll do this in 2 parts. We'll end the first part of this interview here, and then we'll have a part 2 because there's a lot more to discuss. What's the future of Nigeria going to look like? It looks like Chukwuemeka and the Obedient wants the elections annulled. But does Nigeria even have the finances to organize another election at this point? There's more of the answers in the part 2 of this interview. My name is Daniel Oduro. This has been another edition of The Lowdown.